I'm William Bartlow. This is May the 28th, 1996. The pictures we're looking at are of the Beardstown flood on the Illinois River in 1943 in late May or June. These videos were taken by my father, Howard Bartlow, and his friend Guy Pickenpaw, who had a boat and would ride over. You'll notice the old wagon bridge is there. This is looking down on the bridge. This is on State Street in Beardstown. It's all boarded up because they thought the water was going to get into the place. They're on the roof of the First National Bank building, and you can see again how high the water was. These are sand boils that came up alongside of the river where the pressure of the water would come up through, and then they'd have to sandbag it to contain it. The water got about a foot over the seawall on that occasion. You can see by the old wagon bridge how high it was, and of course traffic was completely stopped. That's a sand boil. Camp Ellis, which was there's Guy Pickenpaw. Camp Ellis was an army camp up in Fulton County, and they came down and helped patrol the town and patrol the levees for fear they would get away. You're looking downriver now. There's another sand boil. The old wagon bridge has been gone since in the 50s. Whenever the water got too high, it would get over them. On this particular day, when they're over there, CBS was doing a remote broadcast. That's Mr. Pickenpaw, doing a remote broadcast from the top of the First National Bank building, and you'll see the Camp Ellis band, and they had a parade that day. That's a good picture of a sand boil. So the water just bubbles up, comes up through the sand. These films were made in '43. Now that is an old marina that was there where we used to keep a boat at one time. There's Camp Ellis patrolling the area. They're trying to brace the levee there to keep it from getting into town. They managed to keep water out of Beardstown, but it was a struggle. That's looking up in the Mascoutin Bay. Was a GI there. Now this is, there is the band from Camp Ellis, and they were doing the remote on top of the First National Bank building. Mr. Pickenpaw again. They used to charge a quarter across that bridge each direction. There's the man from CBS doing his remote. Now this is over in the river bottom on the Schuyler side. You can see how high the water got in relation to the electric lines. The levees broke over on the Schuyler side near Frederick and flooded that whole bottom land. It was late spring or early summer when this floods came. Now this is the approach to the wagon bridge, and you'll notice there's a horse quartered there. Apparently they got him in there and couldn't get him any further than that, and that's where he stayed throughout the flood, and they would take him water. This is the Coal and Crane Creek areas. We used to call it the Twin Bridges. You can see on the telephone lines how high the water was. Now on the land west of the Coal Creek and Crane Creek areas, the water didn't get. They managed to keep it out. But the river backed up and filled all these through. We used to refer to this area as the Twin Bridges because there was two bridges that crossed the two creeks, but today they have been funneled into one creek, and there's a single bridge over it. Now there they are working on a barge going down there. In this area, there was a sailor from Camp Ellis who fell off of one of these barges and was drowned. You can see on that side they kept the water out, but it was a struggle to do that. There's Roy Wise, Guy Pickenpaw. The other people, I don't know. But everybody was working, carrying sandbags. There's Guy taking more pictures. You get an idea of the height of the water. Now this is in Frederick, just about where it comes down the hill. The bridge, that little bridge, is still there. There was a corner station there, but water got clear up in the town. This is right at the corner where 67 at that time went. The old Bellamy store, the flood pretty well washed it out, and it never ever again reopened and has finally been torn down. That station is gone. Now that's looking down. There's some of the old boathouses in the marina that somebody salvaged and got going again. The fellow who used to run that was an old one-legged fellow by the name of Peg-Leg Pete, we called him. I don't even know what his name was now. Again, this is looking from about the railroad bridge down the river. This is on the Schuyler side now to the approach. And I think the water maybe is beginning to fall a little bit when they took these. That's the approach. Now this is in the river bottom. That is my granddad, Pard Bartlow. He's over there petting an old cat and a horse that got stranded there. This is again on the Schuyler side. Such a vast expanse of water, you wonder where it all came from. In a little bit, they'll show the breakthrough where the levee broke. At the time, they said they pushed railroad cars off in it to try to stem the flow, but it didn't work. The pressure of water was too great. That's my brother Ted and a friend of his, Anna Margaret Gillenwater. The water has receded, as you can see. The bridge it's off of the bridge, but the bridge is not open. You can see how far down on the seawall that it was. That's the marina again. That's a house that water got into. You can see how it eroded the levees. Now this is a Coal Creek pump house, which had electric pumps. I think they got the motors out, but a lot of the electric stuff is in there. They have since replaced them. The pumps are still there, but they're diesel today. We were kids, we used to go down in that area and fish. It was a good fishing hole. Now we're back on the Schuyler side in the river bottom. Now you can see that the water is coming down now. Because that house, it was clear up to the roof. Now that was an airport that was on the Schuyler side. A fellow by the name of Roan had it. When it washed him out, he never put it back. It was an old schoolhouse. That shows the train. They've gotten the levee fixed back up now so that trains could go over it, because the railroad went across the top of the levee. Theirs was the breakthrough. They had to leave the breakthrough to let the water get out. It pretty well wrecked things on the Schuyler side. There hasn't been anything like it since. But it happened once. It could